How's it going, church? Have you noticed that now more than ever we need the hope of Jesus Christ? In unbelievable ways, our culture is divided, scared, enraged, and much like sheep without a shepherd. Together with you, we are heartbroken over the racial divides, the injustices, murders, riots, bigotry, fear, and hate spreading across our country. And like you, we are saddened and seeking Jesus for an appropriate response to somehow speak love to our brothers and sisters who've had to live with racism and hate in ways many of us will never know. How do we tell them that we love them without it seeming small? How do we become more involved without it seeming trite? All around us in our homes, in our social media feeds, in our ears, and within sight, we are urged to do something, to stand up, to speak out, to go out, to black out. And these things are so important and necessary. And with the Spirit of Christ, they are powerful, effective, healing, and good. But in order for us to look forward with hope, we must look back and remember what God has said about these issues. When we look back, we see that God made men and women, all nationalities, cultures, colors, and gender in His image. And because of this, all of us, we are precious in the sight of God. We are equal as image bearers. There is no greater basis for true equality than what we have found written in the Bible. But sin has wreaked havoc on our world. We've seen culture clash against culture, race against race, gender against gender, and this has left us so broken and angry and sad. And as we look forward, we must remember that the terrible injustices, intentional and unintentional misunderstandings, and unrighteous reactions are deeply rooted in a greater problem. These issues are not primarily political or even racial, though clearly there are some deep, deep problems there. For the Christian, we must remember that these issues are first and foremost spiritual. Though mysterious, it seems as if we are walking in the shadow of Revelation 12:12 that says, "But terror will come on the earth and the sea, for the devil has come down to you in great anger, knowing that he has little time." Satan has been left to wreak havoc on the world and the fruit of his plan while causing unspeakable terror to individuals and communities and neighborhoods is also a plan of creating confusion as to where we can turn to find answers. Christian, we alone have this answer. We have the cornerstone, the capstone. The answer begins and ends in Jesus Christ. Only Jesus alone can transform the human heart from pain to peace. Jesus alone can transform the human heart from hatred to hope. Jesus alone can right every wrong and bring justice out of injustice perfectly. Jesus alone can show us the riches and beauty of every nationality, culture, and tongue because He made them all. And we are precious in His sight. And Jesus alone can understand our deepest hurts and our inmost longings for justice because Jesus, more than any man or any woman who ever lived, was wrongfully accused, deeply despised, hated, hunted, beaten, betrayed, forgotten, abandoned, marginalized, minimized, tortured, and murdered at the hands of those who should have protected Him the most. And Jesus endured all of this so that one day He will come again and restore a new kingdom and every wrong will be made right. And He will bind every wound and gather every tribe and tongue and nation unto the oneness of His glory. Christian, as we look forward with eyes for hope, it must be to Jesus, who is our answer and power for real heart change. He is the catalyst for authentic love and life-changing light. We cannot forget Jesus. We must look forward to Jesus coming again and righting every wrong as one who truly understands. We must look forward to Jesus who calls us to love God with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love our neighbor, the people in our communities, our neighborhoods, and our cities, to love them as we love ourselves. And we mourn and pray and grieve and weep alongside of those who suffer during these heartbreaking times. But in our weeping, there must be hope. In our prayers, there must be expectation. With our feet, there must be love. With appropriate action, with our faith, there is great joy found in Jesus and in Jesus alone. Many of us are asking and looking for the next right thing to do. That's good. That's right. That's necessary. And as we're looking for the next right thing to do, remember that the sickness we see is primarily a spiritual problem. And a spiritual problem requires a spiritual doctor. And you know him, Jesus. So start there. Tell others about Jesus, about who he is, and what he's done, and what he will do. We want you to pray. Pray for your brothers and sisters in every neighborhood and in city. Pray for the innocent and vulnerable. Pray that the church would arise in times like these of crisis and that God would give us incredible wisdom. Pray that the demonic strongholds of bitterness and hatred, fear, greed, racism, and pride would be defeated. Pray for a spiritual awakening. And in addition to praying, reach out, build relationships, learn to have understanding and true empathy with your neighbor. Put your feet to faith by building new relationships that lead to love and the gospel. Lastly, we wanted to leave you with a few resources that have helped us, taught us, encouraged us. And as we share these resources, we know that there are many going around. We simply ask that you would cling tightly first to Jesus and allow him, his Spirit, and his Word to lead you above all, according to your conscience. We love you, church. The pastors of the Rock Church love you. We are praying alongside of you. We think of this verse in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 8 through 10. The Apostle Paul wrote, "We are pressed on every side by troubles, but we are not crushed. We are perplexed, but we are not driven to despair. We are hunted down, but never abandoned by God. We get knocked down, but we are not destroyed. Through suffering, our bodies continue to share in the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may also be seen." We are looking to Jesus, our hope. We love you. Thanks for listening.